Do you get a chance to see the Darren Stills video of him cutting weight yesterday? Did you watch that at all?
I did.
You did. What did you think of that as someone who, you had a very hard weight cut to 155. What did you think of that video?
I think that guy has, he's a great fighter. He's a young kid. I think he's 24, 25, 26. I don't see he fighting very long on this welterweight division. Every time you make weight, it gets harder and harder and harder. It's I've been there before. I feel like every time I make weight, or every time I make 155, what's getting harder and harder all the time, every time. And same thing gonna happen to him, and he gonna go 185 eventually. He not even make weight after all that, and we could not even watch the whole video, right? And he was 3.5 pounds over off the extra pound. If he would fight for the title, it would be 4.5 pounds. And he's a great fighter, young guy, but I think he's gonna go at 185 eventually.
When you see a video like that, does that shock you, or is that just something that fighters have to go through sometimes? I mean, that happens relatively often, right?
Yeah, I saw he was for 15 minutes on the treadmill, then 5 minutes on the meet, five minutes around on the meets, and then he went back to the sauna. I usually make weight with 5 to 6 rounds on the meets, I usually do. He did a lot and he was still over, and that was kind of shock.
What a night and what an end to the night.
I mean, we knew we had two very explosive strikers there in the main event, and I'm not sure we realized just how explosive Marlon Moraes is. His first fight against Rafael Assunção, a tough one, top 5. Another one against John Dodson. Another one against Aljamain Sterling. And now knocking out the number 4 guy in his division in that kind of fashion, amazing.
First guy to beat Jimmy Rivera, who's been on an amazing streak, and, we talked about his striking. We talked about him wanting to be at that striking distance, and he did just what he wanted to do.
What the heaven just happened? Number one, I got to put my foot in my mouth. Because I was just saying that I think that Rivera was going to get it done. And before I can get it out of my mouth, it was a leg upside his head. Literally upside the head. Crazy KO. Crazy speed in that switch kick.
Kelvin, we tried to tell you.
Hey,
we tried.
Should have listened,
bro.
Marlon Moraes. You were the only one to pick Jimmy Rivera. Kenny, Jimmy Rivera racked up 20 straight victories, and all of a sudden, poof, it's up in smoke. Marlon Moraes ends it in just over 30 seconds.
We talked about Rivera having very solid fundamentals. We talked about the flashy style of Marlon Moraes. Why is that effective? Because you don't see those kind of strikes coming. That lead left kick, when you have same stance opponents, it's very difficult for your eyes to track, especially if you're trying to move forward. Marlon Moraes threw the perfect kick at the perfect time.
Now, we thinking about the technique of a switch kick. You know, sometimes you see fighters, they open their body up too much, and it's too big of a motion when they switch kicks. He telegraphed it. He did it so quickly. He did it so fast. He did not even need to throw any strikes before. He went right into the switch kick. As you said, caught him off guard, went upside his head with it.
We've seen Marlon do that not once, but now twice inside the octagon. It's 2 fights in a row, which makes me think that's not luck. You know, this is a technique that he's been training and perfecting for many years. And look what he did tonight. I mean, it was amazing.
Tyron, talk about that kick from Marlon Moraes. How did he set it up? How did he land it? How was he so successful in getting another fight done with early?
You know, a lot of times in the beginning of a fight, it's a filling out process. You're filling out your opponent. You want to throw a couple jabs here and there. Your opponent's going to expect that. But what he's not going to expect is a very extremely fast and accurate switch kick throw. A lot of striking coaches tell you, throw the punches before you throw a kick. Don't ever throw a kick without throwing punches. But when you move your body so fast, it's almost as if he's giving an illusion that he's going to throw a strike with his hands. And when he switches his stance, his hands drop for a brief moment. That was just enough time for their leg to come up. And when I say upside the head, literally. Yeah.
I said it before, I'll say it again. I'll always take speed over power. And that was the big advantage for Moraes heading into this fight. And, you know, for me, Tyron, I think you're right. I think for Moraes, he was probably poking and prodding a little bit, just kind of seeing, judging the range, seeing what Jimmy was going to come back with. Jimmy dropped his hand at the wrong time, man. And Moraes caught him. And that's the way this sport is. We had 2 very dynamic strikers in there. One mistake in this game, and that's it.
Jimmy, a tough outcome tonight. A lot of build up to this fight. Talk us through how everything played out from your perspective.
He just caught me with a good head kick, dropped me, then pounced on me right away and caught me. It happens, it's part of the sport. Just got to get back up and keep working hard.
He's known for his kicks, but typically they're leg kicks. Is the fact that he went high with that kick part of what caught you off guard?
Yeah, you know, I thought I put my arm up high enough to block it, but he just kind of went over it, and it happened, and I got caught.
It seemed like he was making an effort to be pretty sportsmanlike afterwards, but there was a little bit of an exchange here backstage. What's the state of the tension, I guess, between the 2 camps right now?
It's not really, there's no tension between him and I. There's no tension with the camps. It's just his management. And his manager keeps running his mouth, and it is what it is. We let it go.
You remain a factor at the top of this division. What's next for you?
Just get back on the horse. That's it. You know, I had a loss. It happens. It's part of the sport. My next thing is just make sure I get clear. I'm okay to fight again and fight it as fast as I can this year. Sometime, hopefully in September, October, November.
Well, we look forward to seeing you back in there soon. Thank you so much for taking a second.
Man, that was good, man. That was one of my best fights, and I believe it was because of training, you know, how I was looking in training, what I was doing to guys, and how confident I was. Because I got on the UFC, I fought a tough opponent, and I kept getting more comfortable, you know, and this fight, I felt home, you know, and Jim Rivera wasn't an easy opponent. Everybody know him. He 10 years undefeated, 20 victories in a row. He beat a lot of good guys, but tonight was my night. And now I'm ready to my next step, and my next step is fight for the UFC bantamweight belt.
You know, Marlon, in your first fight in the UFC, you had some bad luck, a decision that didn't go your way against the Sun Sal. Now you face the #4 guy in the world. You have 2 knockouts in a row, and now you're kind of fulfilling this potential that everyone had for you. What does this do for your confidence moving forward now?
Yeah, man, me and my team, we always knew it. We knew it. We knew I could get there and I could do my job. And man, I always been a UFC fighter, and I always knew how good I was. And now I'm here, I'm putting shows, and I can't wait, man. I can't wait to get back in there, and I want to fight for the title. That's it.